Good, whatever time of the day it is, wherever you are watching this video. I am Captain Ray Hill, your Math 142 course director, and I wanted to talk to you real quick about what is going to be different in the course as well as what is going to be the same in the course as we move forward. So obviously we are moving to online classes in Microsoft Teams, and so there are going to be a lot of different changes with that you can read up about in the different information posted on the site. That being said, I want to really talk to you guys about what is going to be the same. And so, what is going to be the same is about how much each and every one of your instructors cares about you. And I have no problem saying that, speaking for all of them. Right? So, as you know, this is going to be a really trying and difficult time for all of you as you're navigating what, for many of us, is something that happens maybe once a century, even if that. And so I just wanted to let you know that your instructors are still here for you. Even though we're thousands of miles away, our doors are still open, and you can feel free to chat with us or email us or do anything you need to do to talk to us. We are 100% still here for you, and I cannot stress that enough. I know at these times it can feel easy to feel isolated or confused or anything along those lines. And I just want you to know that you still have us to reach out to, even if it has to be through a virtual means, as instead of coming to our office and those kinds of things. I also wanted to take this time to tell you guys a little bit of a story, right? And so, what I wanted to tell you about is I have to give you a little bit of background on myself for this story to make sense. One, I wanted to tell you that I am a graduate from the Air Force Academy. I graduated in 2013. And I wanted to tell you that as a grad, I am 100% positive that actually this experience that you are going through, these challenges that you are facing, going through this COVID-19, is I think this will be a much larger growing experience than recognition will be. And I have no problem saying that. I am 100% positive that will be the case. I also wanted to give you a little bit of background about when I was here as a cadet. So I had an interesting thing that I was dating this girl in high school. We ended up going to basic together back when it was easy. I guess you were able to leave basic training. So she left basic training, sent me a Dear John letter, and we broke up over Thanksgiving break. She obviously realized she had made a mistake, and we ended up getting back together. And that started a long distance relationship over our time at the academy that involved 4 breakups, 1 broken engagement, until we eventually got married over 60 days. To make those matters worse, every single one of those breakups was her breaking up with me and not the other way around. And so that's some important information to know as I tell you this story about the second time that she broke up with me. And so that second time that she broke up with me was literally 2 days before recognition. And I remember going through recognition, being distracted, going on spring break, and coming back after spring break, kind of in the position, in a sense, of what you guys are in right now. And I remember that I was sitting in MSS class, and we were learning something called Warden centers of gravity, or Warden's rings, if you will. And how Warden's rings work is that your enemy has these different rings, centers of gravity, if you will. And each one of these rings represents something different. And so, for instance, on the outside ring, it might be their fielded military. They might end up having infrastructure as a different ring. And they might end up having their population, their government, all these different things that represents that country. And so how Joe Warden's rings work is that the best way to take down your enemy is to do parallel strikes all at the same time. And so, for instance, while you attack their military with some kind of strike, well, you might also take out a really important bridge that's important for their infrastructure and economy, right? And you might also do some kind of cyber attack that will affect their population and government. And when all of these things are happening at the same time, the enemy will be thrown into complete disarray and will not be able to continue to fight. And it is, his belief is the number one way to take down your enemy. Well, I am sitting in MSS class, and what am I thinking about? Well, of course, I'm thinking about how on earth can I get my girlfriend back. And so what I decide to do is to make rings for my love life, right? And so I end up on my paper, I remember doing this, writing out these different rings and what was important to my ex-girlfriend at that time. And so I was thinking, she really cares about her family. She cares about her friends. She really cares about animals. And so I decided, okay, well, now that I've got these rings kind of laid out for her, how do I conduct these parallel strikes to throw my enemy into disarray, right? And so what I ended up doing was I ended up doing things like sending her mom some flowers on her birthday. And I remember sending my ex-girlfriend this Free Willy poster because she really liked animals. But did I send it right to her dorm? No. I sent it to like the equivalent of her mailroom so that she would be there with her friends whenever she decided to open this up, right? And well, what happened? Well, of course, naturally, in 2 weeks, we were dating again, right? And so, why on earth do I tell you this story, right? Well, I tell you this story for a couple reasons, but as I'm going to try and simulate the natural classroom experience, at this time I'll open it up to questions from cadets, right? And obviously, there are no cadets in the room with me right now. However, cadets always ask, well, what on earth does your wife think about this? And so, well, it happened that I didn't tell her until about a year ago. I was eating some dinner with some cadets, and for some reason, this story came up when I told it. And when I was talking to her, I ended up telling the story, and she ended up being like, "Whoa, that makes so much sense." She's like, "I had absolutely zero intention of ever talking to you again, let alone dating you again." But what ended up happening is every person in her circle, her friends, her families, kept saying I was such a nice guy and that she should give me a second chance, right? And now I'll tell you the reason that I really wanted to tell you guys this story is because not only is it voted by all my cadets, it's usually their favorite story from throughout the semester, but I like to think about what could have happened, right? If I had walked into MSS class that day and decided, oh, I'm just a little tired and I'm just going to take a nap, well, then I wouldn't be married to my wife right now, right? The person who brings me the most joy in my life. I wouldn't have my 5-year-old son, who is a very close second for bringing joy into my life, right? And I also think about, one thing going in and just resting and taking a nap, that's one thing, right? Or if we do the other thing that cadets are always doing, which is they're so focused on getting points, right? If I had just simply thought about Warden's rings and how was I going to remember the name of each ring so that I could just spew it up on my MSS test to get what matters most, which is full points. Oh, full points, right? Then the same thing would have happened. I would have not have fallen in love. I would not have convinced my wife to come back and fall in love with me, right? And so I bring this up because everything here at the academy, believe it or not, your instructors in every department sit around and talk about what is important for the cadets to learn. And everything that we're teaching you has some reason outside of as some reason that's going to help you become a better Air Force officer or a better leader. And so I encourage you that when you go into classes, which by the way, you're going to be going into classes for the next 3 years, right? You might as well enjoy them and you might as well focus on trying to learn and really getting this information because it's all designed with some purpose for you to come in and to do exactly that, to learn, right? And I think at this time, there is no question in my mind that you guys are in a situation more intense than probably any other academy classes faced in terms of now having to take your education and really internalize it, right? Being online classes is not easy. You have to be up on yourself. It's not, no one's going to, people aren't going to be taking attendance or you're not going to be getting Form 10s. I mean, other classes may be taking attendance, but really, it's really on you to really internalize this education for yourself. And I encourage you to do that. I encourage you to really think every time you're learning something, be excited to learn it. Be excited to try and apply what you're learning to your life. And if you ever have questions about this class or other classes, how could possibly ever apply to your life, feel free to contact me because I would love to answer that. All right. So with that, I just want to thank you for watching this video. And I just wanted to remind you once again that we are all here for you for whatever questions or support you may need. All right. And so I just encourage you to find how you can have fun in your current environment and how to make the best of the situation you're in. Thank you. Bye.